Hey guys, how's it going? It's your boy M.K.S here, back here with part two of my vision and dreams and whatnot for AS Roma. I hope you enjoy it. Anyone who's watching on Facebook, please check out the YouTube version if you'd be so kind, just to support my work if you like. But yeah, I hope people out there enjoy it, especially fans of Italian football generally, and especially fans of Roma and that kind of thing. I thought in my last video, I wasn't very pleased with myself. I thought I didn't do a very good job. I probably stuttered a bit on my words as I often do, and I wondered if I was going a bit off topic and giving a nice life story. So I thought for this one I'll try not to give too much of a life story or go off topic too much. I'll try and stick to the football and make it for football fans, especially fans of Italian football and Roma in particular, and Celtic fans and that kind of thing. Although obviously I welcome anyone who supports my work or plans from an ethical point of view. I welcome you supporting me and my plans. But I just wanted to say one thing before I went on to the topic and stick to football as much as possible. Although I think with football, it is kind of political as well. I think like some people try and separate sports from politics, but I think there is always probably some politics involved. So I'd love to know what you think on that. Do you think there is a way to separate sport and politics? I know some people say like it's a way you can go away for a few hours and like say in the case of football, let's say 1.5 or 2 hours or whatever, and avoid politics or whatever. But I don't know if that's really possible. And just a quick side note that when it was like the Black Lives Matter press or whatever, or when people took the knee here in England, I don't know if other countries did the same. I think some did and some didn't. But a lot of people said that stuff what I talked about, like about politics being away from football, but I didn't hear those. I'm sure those same people didn't complain when, like, well, maybe they did. I don't know. Some of them might do, but when like England fans go overseas and go on the rampage or went on a rampage or whatever, and like they were involved in politics and saying political things against other countries and that kind of thing. So I think it is a bit hypocritical. Like people said they should have the poppy and all that, but that's quite political and that kind of thing. But I'd love to know what you think. Is there a way to get sport away from politics and vice versa, or should we just accept that politics is involved in all areas of our life? Anyway, I just wanted to quickly say about what I said in part one about the Balfour Declaration and countries which I think should. I think that's what I was going to say in part one. Like there was a point I was going to raise, but I thought the intro was going on a bit too long. But like this one, I probably failed in my objective to keep it short and sweet. But I think the following countries are basically Palestine, Palestinians some refuge, some migrational rights and refugee rights. But please feel free to disagree if you wish, and you can tell me why you disagree if you want. As I say, I hope people won't be too harsh, but the reason why is due to certain things which I'm going to go to. So I think possibly America, because of the fact that they support Israel and have been known to like help Israel with its funding and things like that, and with the lobby, the AIPAC lobby and stuff like that. I want to be as neutral as possible, just to clarify my position, but I do care for humanity. So from a humanitarian point of view, I don't want to be anti-Israel or anti-Palestine. I want people in both countries to have as many rights and good things as possible. So it's disappointing to see the situation now and what humanity is going through and things like that, but and even animals that live there and stuff like that. But yeah, I think America, I think Germany, because obviously the history when they had the Holocaust and things like that, obviously that's created a lot of like a vacuum and a lot of problems there. I think also the British, because of the Balfour Declaration, as a British citizen myself, although I'm not that patriotic to be honest, if you see my other videos you'll probably know, but I do try and be as fair as possible, and I'm prepared to listen to alternative points. I think some of the Arab countries, because like their neighbours and stuff like that, like Jordan and places like that, and Turkey, because they have the Ottoman Empire. But I think those are the main nations that should have more Palestinian migrants and refugees and rights. But again, if you disagree, that's fine. I think it'd be unfair, let's say, to say India should take in more Palestinian migrants, because India didn't really have much to do with the history, as far as I'm aware, and they've been quite neutral on the position. confuse me, sorry. Anyway, with that being said, I'm going to get back on, as I said before, to sticking to the football, but I'd love to know what you think about whether you think countries should take in Palestinians, and which, if so, which countries, what do you think would be the fairest system? I'd love to hear from different people and read different comments if I take it literally. Anyway, on to the football. So here goes. So these are ideas number 11 to 20, and I hope you enjoy them, and I'd love to know what you think about each idea I have as well, including my intro there about whether countries should allow Palestinians to escape the situation in Gaza and across Palestine where they're suffering, and like hospitals, probably in schools and whatnot, are being blown up. I think it's those, especially children, vulnerable people, or even just general people, should be given a rite of passage to leave. But I'd love to know what you think. If you disagree, that's fine. On to the topic, football, focus on football. Here we go. So number 11, on the subject, I did say I'd focus on football, but this is, I promise, a football sort of thing. Again, sticking to Roma, all these points are going to be about Roma, although it is kind of political. I think it's hard to avoid. But I was thinking it's quite a difficult one. I probably overvalue football, and some of my main dreams in life are about football. I'm a bit too obsessed with football. So I would love for Italian teams at club and country level to be as successful as possible, preferably to be the most successful, the national team and club teams, club and country, as I say, to win as many trophies as possible. I'd love for Italy to win the most World Cups, most importantly, in my opinion. I'd love for Italian teams to win the most things like European competitions and international competitions between them, out of any European teams, overtaking the EPL, English Premier League, and La Liga in Spain, of course. And as I said in part one, I'd love for Roma to win like 8 Champions Leagues in a row, or even 10, or even 12, or whatever else, as many as possible, even 20, if that was possible, and World Club Cups and all sorts of things. And to do in terms of doing that, I'd love to help them to have the best possible squad and all the things that are involved, like having the best players from overseas and also the best town players, developing young players, and all sorts of things like that. The reason why I mentioned the situation and how I take football too seriously is, as someone who's very anti-war, pro-peace and love and stuff like that, as people who have seen my other videos will probably be able to attest to. You might be one of them if you're watching this. I have the dilemma that I want to support. Again, I'm neutral when it comes to Israel, Palestine, and things like that. And I want to be as neutral as possible and talk about humanity benefiting and animals and human and animal rights and freedoms and whatnot included. But this video has gone on a lot longer than planned. But I just wanted to make the point that with the BDS, boycott, divestment, and I can't remember what S stands for, goods and services that support the war, if they support things like providing schools, electricity, opportunities, jobs, the economy, and things like that in Israel, then I would support that. But if it supports things like tanks, guns, bombs, and weapons, basically generally, I would love to boycott the weapons trade generally all over the world, just for one country, even if it's like Hamas itself or others as well. I want to boycott wars generally. So it's a bit of a dilemma, because I was wondering whether I should say this, but again, I don't want to drag it on too much, but these videos, but I'm trying to be careful what I say about, because I don't want to put off potential investors. So I'd love for them. I was thinking, what if FIFA and UEFA could come together and make peace by saying, it reminds me of the biblical teaching, like swords into plowshares, where it's like talking about weapons. Instead of having weapons, people's children will learn war no more, and instead they will try to build things and make things and things like that. In this case, I was thinking of that for football. What if instead of investing in wars and the weapons trade, we can encourage companies to invest in Italian football and stroke or Celtic? I think that would be pretty cool. Instead of wars, and it would be good for football. It would make football look a lot better. Obviously, that benefit FIFA, it'd benefit UEFA as well. But hopefully, most importantly for me, it benefit Italian football and Celtic as well. Moving on, number 12. So I hope that doesn't discourage anyone from investing in Italian football and stroke or Celtic. If we like boycott the weapons trade and instead encourage those companies to invest in something which is peaceful and hopefully quite productive in a way. And I did ask on the YouTube version. I forgot to do the poll. I do struggle to publish polls on Facebook, but I did ask on YouTube, I was saying in the question section, and I hope people get involved in answering this question or these questions. But would you support a company or organisation, or any companies or organisations which benefit town teams like Roma and also Celtic as well? Obviously, they're not an Italian team, but Italian teams and Celtic as well. In this case, let's say Roma. If any companies invests in Roma or funds Roma or supports Roma, would you buy from that company or support that company generally? I suppose that's mainly towards Roma fans and Celtic fans or Italian fans generally. Although I suppose for fans of other clubs outside of Italy or Celtic, would you invest in companies that support your club? It'd be interesting to hear from different football fans. Number 13, I would love for, and I know there's lots of conspiracy theories about them, I should be careful what I say, but I'd love for the Rothschilds to invest. I'd say, due to my patterns, I'd say Rothschilds to invest in Roma, Rockefellers to invest in Roma, Rothschild Investment Fund for Roma. I'd say with my patterns, it's Rothschild Investment Fund for being fourth in the sentence, to invest for Roma, and also as a Rothschilds, Rockefellers, and other big banks and investors, and also even the Vatican, Catholic organisations, and that kind of thing. From a selfish point of view, I would say number 13 is like a selfish number for me as well. Number 14, I'd love to see how Roma can solve problems around the world. So if they do get this investment, how they could use it to make peace, to make positive things generally, so to solve problems facing the world like climate change, global warming, help victims of natural disasters, or even like help to rebuild after wars or things like that. Number 15, I would love to hear from Roma fans about, say, I hope Roma fans will share this video amongst each other, amongst yourselves, and if you know any Roma fans, please share these videos with them. And I'd love to hear what they think about my ideas, whether they think they're too foolish or naive, or whether they like some of them at least, and how you think the club, as I said in part one, could connect with the fans to see what can benefit the club, and also looking at where the Roma fans could invest in the club or even donate to the club. So I'd love to see Roma fans donate at least 10% of their wealth or earnings, or whatnot, salary or earnings or wealth or whatever, or even assets to the club, so the community can benefit them, or even more than that if they're comfortable doing so. I myself would love to donate as much as I could to Roma if I had the money, and I'd love to encourage Roma fans to, and like local businesses. I'd love for all Italian clubs to have investment from their fans and local businesses and whatnot. And hopefully that will encourage international investors. Number 16, I'd love to hear from people, as say, and have committees, think tanks, brainstorms, networks, cooperatives, or whatnot, which look at what are the best ways, or all the possible ways to benefit Italian clubs like Roma, what could benefit Italian clubs generally, including Roma. Number 17, I'd love also to hear what your dreams are, Roma fans and fans of Italian football generally, and football fans generally, perhaps even, especially my fellow Celtic fans as well, get involved. To talk about what your dreams are and imaginations are and things like that. I'd say for me personally, I'd love to see Italian teams, the national team, doing as well as possible, winning as many competitions, especially World Cups, and club teams winning things like World Club Cups, Champions Leagues, and things like. Again, I'd love to imagine I'd love to see Roma winning like 10, 8, or even 9, or even 10, or even 20. If I'm really dreaming, 19 or even 20 World Champions Leagues and World Club Cups and all sorts of things like that. Having the best possible squad, maybe getting players like Mbappe, Haaland, players like that. I have a bit of a dilemma because part of me, as I said in part one again, part of me would love to see Genoa being like the Galacticos, perhaps, especially as it's Italy's oldest club. I'd love to see them get investment from companies like Google, Greg's, and other companies that begin with G. And also, part of me thinks it'd be interesting to see what, like say, AC Milan got like Ancelotti back and got players like Mbappe, Haaland, and others to be involved. But because Roma is like nicknamed the Giallorossi, I'd love to see them have that. And it also, as it's a capital club, although it's a bit of a dilemma, I'd say AC Milan has a great history, and part of me thinks it'd be great to see them do well in the Champions League again. So it's a bit of dilemma, as I'd love to see town teams do well generally, but I thought I'd focus, I'd say, on trying to think about Roma and what I'd love to see Roma achieve and things like that. Number 18, again, having said that, I'd say I'd love to see Roma making peace and progress and doing positive things, working with migrant and refugee agencies, as I said before, and just seeing what they can do to make the world a better and just generally more peaceful and overall better place, and things like that. A more peaceful and overall better place. Number 19, also including helping, I know I always say this one for number 19, but pretty much, but I'd love to see them helping Indigenous African software developers and Australasian, even Aboriginals and people like that. And number 20, also Indigenous African and Australasian, Indigenous Africans and Australasians in STEM, science, tech, engineering and maths, or even business, startups, business generally, and things like that, helping African businesses and Asian businesses and things like that, but also getting investment from African and Asian entrepreneurs, Arab entrepreneurs, and things like that. I'd say I'd love to see the club being co-owned by also by Dubai, Qatar, and others, if at all possible, and look at what all the legal ways they can make money. Most importantly, legally, that they can get into the club, and having a mix of older and younger players as well. But yeah, as I say, I wonder if the fans, what rules are there on. I'm a bit naive on the rules, but I'd love to see what rules there are on whether the fans can have part ownership or whether the fans can invest in or even donate to the club, and what are the rules on financial fair play, and what is the most amount of money Roma could get legally, so that they don't have trophies taken away from them or points deductions or anything like that, so that they stick to the rules, partly for their own benefit really, as well as the fact that I love to stick to the law as much as possible. But I think that also benefits yourself, because then you don't get into trouble. So for instance, with Man City, you never know, they might have trophies taken away from them, they might have points deductions or things like that stop them from progressing perhaps. So I'd love to see Roma have as much money as they can within the rules, similar to all the other Italian teams, I'll say, and also Celtic, I'll say. I'm sure there's a point I always forget. There's a point I was going to say, but I'm sure. I'd love to see African and Asian nations, say, having sovereign wealth funds and investing in Roma as well. And again, look at what the legal ways are. Maybe having a good legal team that can look at any legal loopholes that can help them navigate around financial fair play and multiple ownership in clubs and stuff. I'd love to see them have multiple owners. I'm sure there was a point I was going to make about. Also, I'd love to see them work with charities, NGOs, and businesses generally to see what they can do to help businesses in Africa and Asia and places like that, and all, at the same time benefit from extra investment from those regions as well, from African and Asian sovereign wealth funds, Arab sovereign wealth funds, say Dubai, Qatar, and others. And I'm sure I'll be kicking myself later because I'm sure there was something I was going to say, but I forgot. But as I say, I hope football fans, especially Roma fans and Italian fans generally, Italian football fans, or as I say, or even those interested in football generally, and Celtic fans will enjoy or do enjoy these videos. Something on my words again, but and hopefully they weren't too cringeworthy. I'm always thinking that. I'm sure there was something I was going to say, but I can't quite remember. But as I hope to encourage companies to invest in football instead of wars or things like that. I think that'd be pretty cool. I'd love to know what you think about that idea. Could it work? Have I potentially put off potential investors by challenging wars and things like that? But I suppose you could say, I'd love to know what you think about that. But I'd love also, I suppose you could say humanity is more important, and peace and love and things like that are even more important, apparently, than football. I'm going to stop waffling. Again, I'm sure there's something I forgot to say, but I wish you peace and love, and I'm out.